Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Pickleball Podiatrist. So last time we talked about calf injuries, but today I want to talk about something totally much more serious and a little bit more entertaining for everybody. So I want to talk about how pickleball actually saved my life. And I think this is a very resonating story for everybody to hear. So it'll take about 3 or 4 minutes, and hopefully everybody will tune in and continue to watch the whole story. So on Sunday, May 9th, I was playing my normal matches. Everything was going okay. About halfway through the third game, I couldn't breathe. I just couldn't get enough air in. Started getting pain up to my right shoulder over here, which I thought was a little odd, but it wasn't any of the textbook chest pain stuff. So I took about 5-10 minutes, caught my breath, finished out playing the match. Everything was fine. Next day, I called my cardiologist. I was a little concerned. He's my neighbor in my plaza here. So I went to go see him, and he does the EKG. Everything's normal. Everything's fine. No changes, no ischemic changes, no evidence of a heart attack, nothing. So we scheduled a stress test, and his office couldn't get me in. So I went ahead and asked him to do a nuclear stress test at the local imaging center. Well, that was that Friday, so I went ahead and did it. It had the nuclear, they started the IV, put the thallium into me, took some initial pictures. About an hour later, I did the actual stress test. And another cardiology colleague of mine who was there, who reads those images, was watching me and talking to me during my entire stress test. I was 5-degree incline, going at like 4.5 to 5 on the treadmill, running, everything was fine. No changes. They do the images afterward, send me home, everything looks great. No changes to my EKG, no nothing. So I'm thinking this is like a big nothing burger. Maybe I had like a little bronchospasm or something. I couldn't get any air in or whatever. So about 6 o'clock that evening, I get a phone call back from the cardiologist from the imaging center who says to me, "Hey, listen, Eric, I need you to go to the hospital. Like, you got to get a cardiac catheterization." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Cardiac? What? I feel fine." So he's like, "Listen, I'm really worried for you." So I went, and it just so happens that another friend of mine who I had been on staff at this hospital for 12 years, and I've been practicing in the area for 20. So I kind of know everybody, and everybody kind of knows me. So the one doctor I wanted on call happened to be on call that weekend, thank God. So I admitted through the emergency department, got me into the cardiac cath lab, and as the interventional cardiologist is doing the procedure, and I feel a little bit of pressure in my chest from the ballooning because he's putting in the guide wire and up through my groin. And he looks at me and goes, "Whoa." He's like, "Eric, now I see where all your problems are." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm awake during the whole thing, which is really remarkable because I had already eaten. They couldn't put me under anesthesia, so this was all done under local. So he swings the monitor toward me, and I take a look at my heart, and he goes, "You see your left anterior descending artery." So the left anterior descending artery is one of the branches off of the aorta that feeds the heart. And this one is what everybody knows is called the widowmaker. This is the one where if you have a massive heart attack, it literally blocks down and shuts down the entire left ventricle. So I said to him, "Well, what's going on?" He's like, "Take a look at it." And as he kind of ran the ISO view, which is the stuff they use to image the artery, it was like imagine like a 4-lane highway merging down to a bike lane. So if you think something this wide going down to something this wide. So I said to him, "Is there a plaque or blockage?" He's like, no, there's no plaque. He's like, it's smooth in there. I'm not getting there's no retrograde anything. It just was a genetic narrowing. And he goes, "When did your father pass away?" I said, "Well, he died in 2003. He was 58. He's like, "This is probably what killed your father." And I just kind of went, oh. 20 years ago when my dad had his heart attack and he passed away, they weren't doing this type of technology. They were doing stents, but they were only doing stents for like blockages. They weren't doing it for normal anatomy. So at the end of the day, I wound up having 4 stents put in. They put 3 in this one artery, in the widowmaker artery. He put 3 in to normalize the width. And then they put 1 in the left circumflex, which is another artery that branches off of the aorta that feeds the upper part of the ventricle, upper part of the left side of the heart. So at the end of the day, here I am, 50 years old. I just had a cardiac catheterization, and now I'm taking a blood pressure medication. I'm on anticoagulant therapy. I'm on aspirin. But I'm thinking to myself, I just dodged a bullet. I mean, if it wasn't for pickleball, and if it wasn't for pickleball stressing out my heart, I never would have known that this was going to kill me. And I was looking at a major cardiac event. I had basically just dodged a bullet. So my message for today for everybody in the pickleball world is don't ignore anything. If you feel like you're having trouble breathing, you have to get it checked out. You have to. It's too important to ignore things. And listen, nobody wants to go to the doctor. Nobody wants to go and have all this stuff done and have your life changed and have these dramatic changes made. But the reality is that we are all getting older and we have to take care of ourselves. And I had already lost weight. I've been eating healthier. I've been doing everything I was supposed to be doing. But it doesn't matter. You can't beat your genetics. And while my dad, had cancer and this is what killed him, it wasn't so much the cancer, it was the cardiac. This was my widowmaker. I mean, I have 4 children. I have a wife. I have family, a business. This was going to destroy my entire family. So I'm grateful that I listened to my body. I want everybody else to listen to their bodies. And if you have something, go get it checked because you just never know. And I just dodged my bullet and I want everybody else to dodge theirs. Life is too precious and life is too short. So thanks for watching. If anybody has any questions, please leave messages and comments underneath the video. Hopefully this message will help somebody else. And we'll get into some other things regarding what happened to me with respect to pickleball and what I think the sport needs to do. So we'll go into that next. All right. Everybody take care. Have a great day and enjoy life.